confirm that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So please continue.
Great. I want to begin by wishing strength and solidarity to my sisters inside Afghanistan now during the Women's History Month and every other day. Their courage in the face of Taliban's oppression continues to inspire all of us. Afghan women inside the country remind us that even under the most severe repression, resistance continues. Despite being denied public spaces, they have turned their homes into sites of protest and feminist action. Their bravery is a powerful reminder that if they can continue to fight under such conditions, those of us outside have no excuse to not be the extension of their voices and demands. I send them strength, solidarity, and deep respect. The world must continue to hear them. I also acknowledge that their extraordinary resilience is not to be glorified and that no woman or girl should have to live under such oppression. Moving on to your question, I think the international community must really stop engaging with the Taliban without demanding concrete commitments in return from them. So far, engagement has largely meant hosting Taliban delegations to global capitals, including in Norway, traveling to Afghanistan for symbolic meetings and praising constructive discussions without any meaningful progress on human rights. We have seen women excluded from international discussions, as my colleagues earlier mentioned, for example, from the Doha meeting, and this has been on the demand of the Taliban. The international community should not treat the Taliban as the sole representatives of Afghanistan. They do not represent the aspirations of the people of Afghanistan, who are young, diverse, and forward-looking. The Taliban have demonstrated that they do not intend to move Afghanistan forward, especially by banning education, restricting women from public life, and dismantling institutions. They are pushing the country deeper into isolation and poverty. They are the only ones responsible for gender apartheid, the only ones responsible for the humanitarian crisis, and now the only ones responsible for bringing Afghanistan into another war while they claim of prevailing peace across the country. Afghanistan right now is being carpet bombed and civilians are being killed, and Taliban are responsible for that. If there must be dialogue with the Taliban, it must be conditioned on measurable progress on human rights, particularly the restoration of women's rights to education, work, and participation in public life, and reversal of all restrictions on women. And no community-based education, online schooling, allowing women to work in limited sectors, and negotiating for minimum is not enough. Women of Afghanistan deserve the full spectrum of their rights. There is no reason they should be held to a lower standard. Nothing replaces formal education. Nothing replaces equal access to public spaces, parks, and nothing replaces access to right to work for everyone and dignity for everyone, not just for this group or that group. Instead, what we have seen is the opposite. With every round of international engagement, the Taliban have become more emboldened. We at Femina have documented over 130 edicts that target women only. The Taliban have issued a PVPV law and a new criminal code, both of which impose severe obedience of women. They criminalize daily activities of women, including conversing with each other. The Taliban's criminal code imposes harsher punishments for harming animals than it does for domestic violence. Rather than moderating their policies, the Taliban have consistently doubled down on repression. Dialogue that ignores these realities that Afghan women face on a daily basis risks normalization of gender apartheid rather than resolving it. So there should be no seats for the Taliban at the UN. There shouldn't be any handover of consulates and embassies. There shouldn't be exclusion of women from forums at the demand of the Taliban, or ever for that matter. There shouldn't be photo ops with the Taliban leaders. The Taliban leaders should not be able to travel freely around the world while women of Afghanistan are literally imprisoned in their homes. It's important to recognize that Afghan women, both inside the country and in the diaspora, are already mobilizing in extraordinary ways. Women inside Afghanistan continue to stage protests, including today they took the streets, organize feminist resistance, and speak out despite severe repression, imprisonment, and threats to their safety. Their courage keeps global attention on the crisis. Women outside of Afghanistan are working to amplify those voices internationally and push governments and institutions to hold the Taliban accountable. Afghan women continue to present a unified set of demands in international spaces. They are demanding for no recognition and no normalization of a regime of terror. They're pushing for international legal accountability. They're pushing for accountability through initiatives such as the People's Tribunal. They're protesting inside the country, all ensuring that negotiations and conversations cannot ignore women's rights. So there is no lack of demands or clarity from what Afghan women want. And there is no lack of things the international community must do to make things right for the women of Afghanistan. They just need to listen and take action. It's also critical to engage not only with governments, but civil society, feminist movements, and human rights organizations. At a time when far-right and anti-rights movements are gaining power globally, Afghan women's struggle must be understood as a part of a global fight for human rights and gender equality. We can never assume that what's happening to women in Afghanistan will stay inside those borders. These actors inspire each other and learn from each other. Ultimately, Afghan women's leadership and voices must remain central to any international conversation about Afghanistan's future if those conversations claim to be legitimate and constructive and want a better future for Afghanistan. I want to end with a question to our international colleagues. What's the aim of continued engagement with the Taliban so far, and what has been achieved? They need to be transparent with us in responding to this question, because we don't see the positive impact of engagement in the daily lives of the people of Afghanistan. They're only making our oppressors more emboldened and brave to step over our rights. Thank you.